Hello everyone, this is Ron Them, and today I'm going to discuss using debt management to increase cash flow for college. Actually, there are two ways to increase cash flow for college. One is income planning and the other is debt reduction planning. And over the last few days, I think Rick Darvis has pretty well demonstrated there are several ways that you can use income planning to create cash flow for college. And however, though, income planning, the strategies he showed you for income planning without implementation won't work, okay? But basically what he showed you was strategies to reduce income, okay, which when you reduce income, you reduce taxes, okay, which increases cash flow to pay the college tuition bill. But alternatively, it also increases your financial aid opportunity for the family, which can cut the net out-of-pocket cost of the tuition bill even further using financial aid. When it comes to, when considering your tax bracket today, remember that the tax rates are scheduled to change after 2010. Okay, so unless Congress passes new legislation, the current taxes you see in the column here, in the left-hand column, will revert to what they were before 2001. And please notice that the 10% bracket will completely disappear and now become the 15% bracket, which means anybody in the very lowest tax bracket is going to get a 50% increase in taxes unless Congress changes it before 2011. And the top four brackets are going to increase dramatically from 9% to 13%, and capital gains tax are going to go up 33%. So taxes are going up. So with that being said, let me use a simple case study to demonstrate some tax and debt planning strategies that you can use to increase cash flow to pay for college, okay? Here we have Joe the plumber, who is 40 years old, all right? And he has one child, one college-bound child. He has $620,000 in total assets, but also currently has considerable debt, including a $216,500 mortgage, which he's 15 years into a 30-year mortgage on this particular mortgage. And he has car loans at $35,000. He has $15,000 in credit cards and $50,000 in a business loan. All right. Now, using some of the tax strategies that Rick was showing the other day, there's a number of them, but there are 8 strategies that specifically work with college very well, and I think Rick demonstrated them quite appropriately over the last 2 days. One is your health reimbursement account, hire the child in the business, the gift and lease back of equipment, okay, educational assistance program, section 127 of the tax code, your health savings account, deducting the employed child's personal car as a business expense, gift of appreciated assets, and deducting the home interest as a business expense, which is also known as 1163-10T05, okay? So in this particular case study, Joe's going to use these tax strategies to reduce his income, which further lowers his tax liability and increases his cash flow. Okay, so let's say that these 8 tax strategies cut his taxes without going into detail, that they cut his taxes and increase his cash flow by $6,500 a year, okay, which, believe me, is a very small amount of money using these 8 strategies. I think Rick showed you quite evidently that you can reduce taxes and increase cash flow by $10,000 to $20,000. But let's, for this example, say it's $6,500 a year, a small amount, okay? And also because Joe's sending his child to college while in college, he's going to be able to take advantage of the American Opportunity Tax Credit, which will further lower his tax bill an additional $2,500 a year, which represents $2,500 in cash flow. Okay, and since Joe has considerable debt, there's a couple strategies, debt planning strategies we're going to use to pay off that debt. First, we're going to use debt consolidation, and we're going to use the cash flow maximizer to play catch up, and let me explain that a little bit further. Okay, first, debt consolidation. Okay, Joe currently pays out $3,000 a month. Okay, in monthly expenses, major monthly expenses. He has a mortgage of $1,400 a month. Okay, and a balance of $216,500. Okay, he has car loans of $600 and a balance of $35,000. He has credit cards of $420 a month with $15,000 balance, and of course, last, the business loan, which is $580 a month, and he has a $50,000 balance. So he's paying $3,000 a month with a $316,500 total balance in all his debt. Okay, so in order to reduce this large debt obligation and increase his monthly cash flow, Joe's going to consolidate this $3,000 a month in debt payments into a lower cost payment of $2,000. Okay, in this example, Joe refinances his current mortgage of $216,500 into a 30-year fixed mortgage of $316,500, and then uses the $100,000 cash out to pay off his car loans, his credit cards, and his business loan. And as a result, Joe's only debt obligation now is his new mortgage. Okay, plus he has $1,000 a month more in cash flow after paying off all that other debt. So his payments went from $3,000 to $2,000, which increases his cash flow savings each month by $1,000. Okay, but what if Joe wants to use all this extra money he's saving to pay for expensive private education for his child? All right, so in this particular case, all right, since college financial aid is largely based on family income, the same strategies that Joe used to reduce his taxable income are going to now qualify Joe for considerable financial aid. So the tax savings of $6,500 a year produced a $25,000, essentially a $25,000 reduction in income. Okay, and in this particular case, before Joe qualified for no financial aid, and after this income reduction, Joe now qualifies for a potential $17,000 in financial aid. So let's just say that the college offers Joe's child $17,000 in financial aid to go to this particular private school. All right, so he now has $21,000 that he owes for a final tuition bill. Okay, and to pay this $21,000 in final tuition bill, he's going to use his $6,500 savings in taxes, his $2,500 a year American Opportunity Grant, and the $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year that he increases cash flow using debt consolidation. So in total amount, he can now pay this $21,000 tax bill or tuition bill with the $21,000 a year in tax savings and debt consolidation. Okay, but as a result of consolidating his debt, Joe increased his cash flow by $1,000 a month. However, he also increased his mortgage by $100,000 and added another 15 years to his mortgage of $216,000. So now Joe's new mortgage is $316,000, and he has a 30-year mortgage. So now let's look at how Joe can pay off this new debt quickly using debt planning strategy number 2, the cash flow maximizer. Okay. But first of all, let's look at the conventional way that virtually everyone in the country uses to pay their mortgage. First of all, they deposit their income or their check into the checking account, and then they pay all their bills from the same checking account. Okay, and in this example, Joe takes $7,000 in income and he puts it into his checking account. All right. Then Joe writes a $2,000 check for his mortgage to the bank, which reduces his mortgage. All right. Plus he has $4,000 in other checks to cover his other bills. So basically what we have is $7,000 coming in and $6,000 going out in expenses. Okay. Which leaves in excess an extra $1,000 lying in his checking account each month. Okay. That unfortunately earns Joe 0% return. All right. So now let's look at the results that Joe can achieve if he used the cash flow maximizer strategy to manage this $1,000 a month in excess cash flow. In this example, let's say Joe takes out a $25,000 open-end line of credit. All right. And he withdraws $12,000 from that line of credit and uses it to make a lump sum payment towards his mortgage. Okay. Then the balance of $13,000 left in the line of credit can now be used for emergency funds, which, by the way, costs Joe absolutely nothing if he never uses that excess line of credit. Okay. Then each month, Joe's $7,000 check now goes into, say, the line of credit, okay, instead of his checking account. And so Joe now still writes $6,000 in checks directly from that line of credit to cover his bills, $2,000 to his mortgage and $4,000 to his other bills. So essentially, the line of credit becomes Joe's checking account. All right. So in the first month, that excess cash flow of $1,000 a month, that residual, now reduces the line of credit from $12,000 to $11,000. And now, because of the lump sum deposit that goes in of $12,000 at the beginning of the month and the $2,000 a month payment, the balance owed on Joe's mortgage is now $304,214. Okay. The cash flow maximizer method provides a better use of Joe's excess $1,000 in cash by using it to pay down the average daily balance of his mortgage rather than leaving the money lay in his 0% return checking account. There's no rocket science here at all. It's just using a little different methodology to achieve the same result. And essentially what he's doing is he's paying down a 6.5% debt, which is much better than getting a 0% return in his checking account. All right. So then in month 2, Joe follows the same procedure and deposits his $7,000 paycheck into the line of credit again and writes $6,000 worth of checks from his line of credit to cover the mortgage payment and other bills. Okay. And the $1,000 excess now reduces the line of credit down to $10,000, so it goes down $1,000 a month. Okay, and basically this procedure is repeated again from months 2 through month 12. Then by month 12, Joe has now reduced his $12,000 line of credit down to 0. All right, and his mortgage debt is now has been reduced from $316,500 to $300,227. So now he can start the same procedure over again the following year. All right, and in month 13, Joe withdraws $12,000 from the line of credit again and makes again a lump sum payment of $12,000, okay, into his primary mortgage, and he repeats this 12-month process over and over each year until the entire mortgage is paid off. So if Joe repeats this process each year, exactly as I've shown, the interest savings and equity buildup begins to accelerate dramatically. Okay, basically he will completely pay off his original $316,000 mortgage in a little less than 13 years. Okay, whereas with the conventional method, all right, he will still owe $247,952 on his mortgage, or about 80% of the mortgage is still due to be paid with interest. Okay, so again, Joe's using this strategy to dramatically reduce his mortgage without changing his spending habits or his financial lifestyle one bit. He's just using a different methodology. All right. Now, as you can see from this mortgage amortization schedule, at the end of 13 years, Joe would have paid out about $239,000 in interest using the conventional method. However, using the cash flow maximizer strategy, he only ends up paying $146,000 in interest expense, okay, in total interest expense. And as a result, when you add in the cost of the line of credit at 6.5% over those 13 years, to use that line of credit because it's declining interest, balance interest, declining balance interest, the total cost of using the line of credit was only $4,642. So when you add the 146 and the 46 together, and subtract it from the 239,000 he would have used or ended up after 13 years and spent, he has an $88,000 or $88,162 savings in interest just after 13 years, yet he would have still owed a lot more, $247,000 in additional monies towards that mortgage, including interest. So as you can see, there's a tremendous savings here by just using this simple little strategy to pay. No rocket science here, but it sure it blows people away when you make this presentation to them. Okay, so let's take a little summary of the cash flow maximizer benefit. Okay, basically, Joe's using debt to pay off debt. Okay, he's using a 6.5% line of credit to pay off a 6.5% mortgage. Okay, yet he paid off his mortgage because it's declining balance interest. He paid off his mortgage because the amortization schedule keeps dropping dramatically as he makes these lump sum payments. He pays off his mortgage in 13 years versus the 15 years he had left on the $216,500 original mortgage. Okay, and the reason he's paying lump sum versus monthly is because it reduces the amortization schedule even much faster. Okay, and by the way, you do not need to use a line of credit. Okay, you can use credit to do this strategy. You can use credit cards, a savings account, a money market account, etc. Okay, the cash flow maximizer strategy does exactly what the name says. It's maximizing the most efficient use of your cash flow and replacing your credit or your saving or your checking account that some clients hold large balances in, and just using and the reason is they use that for emergency funds, and using a line of credit for emergency funds and the money in the checking account to pay down debt. Okay, it allows you, this strategy, cash flow maximizer, allows you to leverage yourself out of debt by using your idle money sitting in a checking or savings account that earns very little money, and use it to pay down debt that costs anywhere from 6% mortgages to 20% credit cards and more, which basically is a guaranteed rate of return on your money rather than sitting in a checking account. And the best part is that you know that this is an incredible lead generator in a market where everybody wants to pay down their debt. Now, let's take a look at how you can use the same results and the same strategies for your business owner clients today. Okay, to help advisors use these strategies that Rick showed in his presentation, the tax strategies and the debt planning strategy that I just showed, and help you dramatically improve your ability to provide results for your college planning clients. Rick and I developed a program called mycashflowcoach.com, and basically what this consists of is planning guides and tools that provide financial advisors the ability to not only provide strategies for their clients, but also to be able and have the tools to implement the strategy, okay? And provide lead generation tools to build relationships with your clients and successfully implement the strategies that we've talked about over the last 3 days. The first part of my cash flow coach naturally is the income planning, and income planning is key in college and retirement planning. But more importantly, income planning is key in financial aid planning, because financial aid is so heavily income sensitive, okay? And strategies must be implemented to achieve results. And so what we've done here is provide you with the implementation tools in my cash flow coach. And unless you can implement the tax strategies, the clients don't get results. And you can't implement them without the tools. So what we give you here is the tools, and basically each income strategy that I discussed has its own complete step-by-step guide, including all the documents, forms, and contracts that are needed to dot the I's and cross the T's to make that strategy real and get it implemented and actually achieve results that the client can see. And that's really, really, really key when it comes to college planning, is showing clients real results. My cash flow coach also includes debt reduction planning strategies. Look, if you want a powerful door opener to get clients to contact you in this market, debt planning is it. Okay, people want ways to pay off debt in this economy, and debt planning is a very, very powerful lead generator, especially for business owners. And the My Cash Flow Coach program includes a step-by-step guide to reduce debt, such as our Cash Flow Maximizer debt reduction strategy. We also have software to demonstrate the results that clients can see and that clients can achieve and see for their own eyes, plus also the ability to track those results for each client. It basically shows clients how to reduce any debt, okay, student loans, parent loans, home equity, credit cards, any kind of debt in about half the time. And when it's involved with the home, it dramatically can increase equity back in the home faster. Okay, so it's a very powerful demonstration tool. So that being said, you can get more information about this program by going to mycashflowcoach.com. All right, and it'll explain the entire program and give you details on every step-by-step guide and what's involved with it. And if there's any questions, you can contact me directly at ron@mycashflowcoach.com, and my phone number is 614-504-5922. So you can contact me here if you have any questions whatsoever on the strategy or on the My Cash Flow Coach program or anything. So again, the contact information is ron@mycashflowcoach.com. So Ryan, I'm done with my presentation, and if you're ready, we can complete this.